During closed session, we'll be having a conference with our legal counsel for anticipated litigation. We'll be also having a conference with legal counsel for an existing litigation. And we'll be discussing any student discipline, student suspension, student exposures, Local 150, and management. And we'll also be discussing any public employee discipline dismissal issues. We have 7 uh, comments for closed session items. Before we begin, let me read the speaker conduct. For all those who wish to address the board during the public comment periods, speakers are requested to state your name and affiliation for the record. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the board, 5 minutes per organization, and a maximum of 20 minutes per topic. Speakers are reminded to communicate with respect, fairness, and courteousness to each other and to all present. You are reminded not to use the name of any district employee in your comments. The board welcomes orderly communication from the public. So first, we'll have Mr. Joe Herman. Good
I
evening.
was hoping that the board maybe could have a little flexibility with, we have a lot of index cards from our members to read tonight. So I'm hoping you can grant some flexibility with time. Okay, good evening. My name is Joe Herman, and I am the president of the California Teachers Association of Berryessa, or CTAB. Many of us are gathered here this evening because CTAB members are working on expired collective bargaining agreement. Negotiations are at an impasse. Teachers and CTAB members have been working diligently with students to build their classroom culture and to ensure that students feel safe and that they will thrive. Teachers have
Hi, my name is Christy Gurney. I'm a third grade teacher at Brooktree Elementary. I am the sole provider of salary and benefits for my family. My husband does not work, has never really held a job. I have 2 kids, one in high school, one in college. And each year my take-home pay decreases because the cost of benefits increase. Full Kaiser family should be the standard that is paid for by the district. Not everyone needs full family coverage, but for those who do, it is an absolute necessity. And then to kick it off, I just got a letter saying that the cost of Kaiser is going up 11.78%. I don't know what to do. I'm beyond, I have no money. I can't afford this. I can't afford benefits for my family. I can't afford to live in this area. And this is my 27th year in this district. This is ridiculous. So I'm asking for you to please look at full coverage for our families. Not everyone needs it, but I do. Many others do. I have 3 other cards to read from other Berryessa teachers regarding benefits. This one is anonymous. My family is struggling to stay in this community. Even though I'm an 11-year veteran of BUSD, we are not able to survive because my whole paycheck goes to childcare. I'm not even paying for medical through the DO. We struggle living paycheck to paycheck. Staff members who do not have medical insurance through the DO should get an HSA card. This one is from Wei Chen. If you appreciate teachers, don't just give them donuts. Give them the salary they deserve. Kaiser just raised the premium by more than 11%. Don't turn a blind eye. And then finally from Paul Chen. Dear Board of Trustees, with an 11.87% raise in healthcare costs along with rising inflation in the Bay Area, it is essential for our teachers' livelihood to be paid a salary that shows an appreciation for what we do for our community. I stand proudly with my fellow teachers and I'm committed to public education because public education takes in everyone, and that includes us teachers. And one last thing, not on benefits, but on prep time. This year has been beyond hard. I am regularly leaving work at 9 p.m. Last night, I didn't get home until 9:30 because I'm there. I am pulling hours like never before. So something's got to give. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Our next comments will come from Ms. Christine Johnson.
Hello, I'm Christine Johnson. I'm a longtime substitute teacher here with Berryessa, and I'm reading a letter from one of our members at Brooktree Elementary. Dear Board of Trustees, it was my hope, and now in retrospect, naive expectation, that the state of education, especially within our own district, would improve after the pandemic. I believed that surely we would all come together to tackle the new realities and burdens laid upon our doorstep. Unfortunately, it has been quite the opposite. Things are quite worse. I find myself and my fellow teachers doing too much with way less. The needs of our students have shifted and grown, yet the resources at our disposal have shrunk. As an educator, I attempt to shift with them to meet them where they are so I can measure the progress towards their goals. But that has become an even more difficult task without the infrastructure and support system that is no longer there. For me, one of the greatest hurdles is the lack of professional respect. You might not see it. You may scoff at this and think surely this is a ridiculous notion. But to put it quite simply, nobody is listening to us, and it just shows a lack of respect for our position and expertise. We are the teachers, the educators, the experts, the ones on the front lines, so to speak. We know what we are doing. You are in a position of leadership. If you lead without listening, who are you leading exactly? We all answer to someone just as you answer to the state. I know. But if you can imagine if we were on the same team and moved as one in the interest of the students, we could do great things. But that takes true leadership, which is listening with respect. So listen to us when we say we need reading interventionalists, full-time counselors, newcomer program, lower class sizes, and of course, fair pay. Listen to us when we say that something is not working. Listen to us when we tell you that we need support. Listen to us when we say something needs to be changed. Listen to us. I grew up across the street from Piedmont. I went to Noble. I went to Piedmont. My parents both retired from the district. As a child, I sat through endless meetings, played around the district office, listened to all the gossip, and fell asleep in board meetings, patiently waiting to go home. I am now a teacher myself in the district, as well as a parent. I have seen this district from many different angles and am obviously invested in the community. Trust me when I tell you to invest in your teachers. Make the needs of the teachers a priority in order to put our students first. With respect, sick and tired.
Thank you for those comments. Our next comments will come from Ms. Melanie Ontiveros.
Hello, I'm Melanie Ontiveros, and I'm a U.S. history teacher at Sierra Mont. And I'd like to tell you what I did over my summer vacation. 2 days after school got out, I went to Santa Cruz. More specifically, I went to the Santa Cruz Office of Education, where I participated in a professional development on U.S. history. It was so exciting. I brought back 6 lessons, and 3 of which I've already implemented in my classroom. I was so excited that I attended another one last Saturday. Roxanne knows, she saw me afterwards, and I was still excited from the experience. It was wonderful. And then, of course, when we came back, I attended the professional development that we had here. I'd like you to know that 78% of the teachers said in the survey that they would rather take a 1% cut in pay than attend the 2 days of professional development provided by the district. It is important for you to know that most teachers do not find these professional developments developing. And if you're looking for where to get funds so that you can help pay teachers a decent wage that they can live in this area, might I suggest you get rid of those 2 days of professional development, but leave that 1% on the salary schedule. You've got 1% right there, plus whatever you're paying these people to come from Wisconsin or Wyoming or wherever they're coming from, their plane tickets, their fees for them to stay the night, their meals, etc. I don't know what that's costing the district, but I know that that would be better invested in the community and in our teachers. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Our next comments will come from Ms. Madison Martinez.
Hello, my name is Madison Martinez, and I represent Sierra Mont Middle School. So I've taught and lived in the Bay Area for 5 years since I first became a teacher. I got lucky when finding a first teaching job at Sierra Mont. With the amount of loans I've had after college and the expenses needed to live in San Jose, I've had a difficult time staying afloat. My parents always told me to live like a student as long as I can in order to pay off my loans and survive here. Since moving to the Bay Area, I've had to move 5 different times to financial purposes. At one point, I was having to commute an hour and a half both ways so I could live with family members and have a lower rent. With the demand and expectations of the job as a SPED teacher, I knew I had to get myself out of that situation, so I fought my way to do so. I don't see how the district expects us to continue teaching and providing an education to the community that is enriching when we are barely scraping by. The stress outside of work deeply affects our mental health while at work. If COLA is 8.2%, then the district should at least match that if they want to keep qualified teachers who are passionate to stay in the district. And these next comments are from other members of Berryessa. And this one says, current salary is $117,000. With a 5.5% increase, I will see an additional $370 a month. Most of the raise will go to cover additional monthly costs due to inflation. Teachers are not getting a raise. They are not being compensated for all the additional work and responsibilities placed on them. This next one says, financial hardships is giving an issue for those of us who are living paycheck to paycheck. On paper, we make too much money to receive financial support, electricity bills, water, tuition, etc. Yet we lose the majority of our pay due to rent and utilities, and nothing is left at the end of the month. Receiving no financial aid in college tuition or utility bills hurts us. We need more salary to survive in the Bay Area. And the last one says, everybody knows this area is insanely expensive. The district states that retaining great teachers is a priority. Please help us instead of just saying you value us. Show us. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Our next comments will come from Ms. Nandini Pal.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Nandini Pal, and I'm one of our instructional coaches. And I'm here today to show my absolute compassion and support for my fellow teachers. I'm reading comments that they have submitted. This is from a noble teacher. As a former primary teacher, having more prep is very important. It takes a lot of time to prepare the different hands-on materials that little learners need to learn content. K3 students learn best with their hands and touching physical objects, while materials can be bought. Teachers don't make a whole lot. Many put things together on their own. Prep time would benefit all K3 teachers and give them time to meet the needs of their students better. This money also teachers spend from their own salaries, a lot of the supplies that are bought. I strongly feel that third grade teachers need prep time. I can't find the time to prepare for lessons and learn new teaching materials. Also from Noble Elementary. Elementary teachers 1 through 3 need prep time to plan for English learner students. In primary grade, students need more small group instruction and teachers need more time to prep for that. Also from Noble, with emphasis on small group instruction plus using hands-on activities for science, the third grade teachers need more planning time. Also, the class numbers do climb up from 24 to 26, so we need extra prep for third grade. Teachers shouldn't have to make extra money by working a side job to be able to survive in this country. Give us a fair salary. This is from Sierra Mont. From Vincy Park. Special education teachers are doing multiple jobs and being paid a single low salary. Other districts have multiple roles to complete the job requirements we are assigned. Preschool cost for my child takes 40% of my paycheck. I have heard statistics that say people pay at least 30% of their salary into mortgages. That leaves 10% for utilities and everything else. Also from Vincy Park, this is my 10th year of teaching in Berryessa Union School District. I have been trying to save up to buy a home, but I can't even afford a one-bedroom condo with my paycheck. My paycheck includes my master's and extra units too. Please give us a raise. I'd like to move out of my parents' house and be able to pay for my wedding. From a TK teacher, younger kids but longer day proposed by the DO. Most students, 24 now, same size classrooms, not age appropriate furniture or materials. From Vincy Park, quality education Well-compensated teachers are generally more motivated and committed to their roles. This dedication can lead to improved teaching quality, enhanced classroom experiences, and better educational outcomes for students. From Vinci Park, parent and community satisfaction. Parents and the community generally appreciate well-compensated teachers as they understand the vital role educators play in shaping the next generation. This support can lead to positive relationships between the school district and its stakeholders. From Vinci Park 2, economic impact. Higher teacher salaries can have a positive impact on the local economy. When teachers have more disposable income, they contribute to local businesses and support economic growth. And finally, from Vinci Park, the cost of living. Santa Clara County is known for its high cost of living. A raise can help teachers afford to live in or near the district, reducing community stress and allowing them to better engage with their school communities. I want to add that as a single woman, I can barely make ends meet myself. I own a house, I have a mortgage. Every month, there's something new that I have to pay for. I mean, either there's a leak or there's something goes wrong with the a system, and it's really, really almost impossible to deal with these emergencies. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Our next comments will come from Ms. Mandy Matsumoto.
Hello, my name is Mandy Matsumoto. I'm a first grade teacher at Leanview. I will be reading comments from other CTAB members. Financial hardship. I have 2 little kids at home to feed. The inflation is too high and my salary isn't enough to cover the cost of mortgage, groceries, and clothes for the kids. With a salary raise, our family will be able to keep the house and raise our kids. Another member, reducing consultants and admin expenses. Money spent on Care Solace is wasted money. Instead, just provide full medical benefits instead of sponsoring these third-party care programs. This one's from Sierramont. I am reaching an age that I hope to retire soon. However, the income amount one needs to achieve in order to live in this area is much higher than what I will receive in retirement. Increasing our salaries brings me and many others closer to being able to survive after we retire. Sierramont again. I went into education because it was my calling. I knew I wasn't going to be rich, but I didn't know I would be struggling with the cost of living, especially when I work for a district that isn't matching it. Again, from Sierramont. When teachers earn a fair salary and have less requirements to attend unnecessary PDs, they will be happier. They will be happier quality educators, which will then directly impact the quality of education a student receives. Another Sierramont comment, our salary is an indication that we don't matter to the district. This impacts the way students and parents value us, appreciate us by giving us a raise and eliminating useless PDs. This one's from Noble. It would be better for everyone involved if we were paid well enough to live where we worked. Teachers are living hours away, and that amounts to less sleep, which then affects how well we teach. How can we expect students to learn when their teachers are tired from sitting in traffic for too long? It is also horrible for the teacher's mental health. And this one's from Summerdale. At Summerdale, I have watched multiple teachers leave as they are priced out of the area. Some have left the profession entirely because the amount put on our plates is so much. New committees and adjunct duties are constantly added when nothing is taken away. We need to be attracting more talented teachers, not driving them away. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Our next comments will come from Ms. Linda Simone.
Hi, I'm Linda Simone, first grade teacher at Brooktree Elementary. I have some cards about prep, and I want to let you know I had a prep day today, and it was fabulous. I prepped for my plants and animals SEAL unit today all day. I am nowhere near done, but I thought to myself, how could I have even done this without this day? So I want you to know that I really appreciate it. And teachers really appreciate those SEAL prep days. And it allows us to prepare really wonderful units for our students. I actually really love the SEAL program. And it's nice to have the time to, develop it and put it in, place. And I'm excited to start teaching that unit in 2 weeks. So that prep time is really, really valuable to us, and I just want you to know that. Noble member said primary grade teachers should have prep. Another member said prep time for grades 1 through 3, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Yes, the upper grades may have more students, but the younger grades have a lot of hands-on things to prep, which takes more time. There have been years where I actually had more students than the upper grades. And actually, that's been happening more and more. At Brooktree, it happened to kindergarten last year. It happened to me as a first grade teacher 2 years ago. And, it's declining enrollment, I'm sure, but we're ending up with 26, and they're ending up with 26 or 25 or 24, but they still have those 2 days. And we don't have anything. Now, we want them to have those 2 days. We know how important it is for them to have it, but we need it as well. So we just want you to know that. Also, grades 1 through 3 need a prep as much as 4th through 5th. This is another member. Grades 1 through 3 tend to be more prep heavy. Having this would allow teachers to just catch up on all of their work. So thank you very much for considering adding prep for our younger students and teachers.
Thank you for those comments. Our next comments will come from Ms. Angela Jacobson.
Hello, I'm Angela Jacobson. I teach at Laneview first grade. I'm going to be reading some stories and some feelings from other members. So my first one says, my classroom is overcrowded. Our classrooms are small, and with 36 plus students, this not only feels like a fire hazard, but I cannot adequately support the individual needs of that many middle school students at once. In each class, I have 3 to 5 newcomers who need my support, plus several students with IEPs, plus 504s, many with anxiety and depression. These kids deserve my attention. And to not just feel like a member, please cap our class sizes. Another member said, we need to cap class sizes at 30. Our load is too overwhelming. Caring for 150 students max is enough. Also, having 36 students in one class with diverse needs is crazy. To get a true sense of our struggles, board members and other leadership roles who have not had at least 2 years of teaching experience should be expected to teach for 1 month out of the year. This might help you understand why we need our pay increase to be consistent with inflation. Even with that, we can't afford housing. Another member from Summerdale, class size, reduce K through 3 class size to 20-1. That's what it was when I started. From 24-1. With fewer students, teachers can provide more individualized teaching to at-risk students. Fewer children in class also promotes fewer distractions for students to make it easier for students to focus on the teacher and what they are learning. Last one from Laneview. I am a veteran teacher who is unable to live in the area where I work. I can't even afford to live in my own place and therefore live at home. I travel a minimum of 10 hours a week just to get to work. It is insulting that this is the reality, especially when district administrators are the only people who can afford to live in the area off their salary. Teachers should be paid the most because we are the ones who work with and actually care about our students daily. District leadership continues to show that they only care about themselves. The fact that they bought themselves a building during the peak of a global pandemic instead of making school sites safer for students and school site staff proves that this is true. I do not feel like my safety or the safety of our students is taken into consideration. I am in the high risk category regarding complications of COVID, and the fact that district personnel who are the furthest from the front line bought themselves a building was a disgraceful act that will stain the district's reputation in perpetuity. Furthermore, it is absurd that the district leadership feels that it's appropriate to hire assistants. If anyone should have assistants, it should be teachers. District personnel have exorbitant salaries and should not be in their position if they are unable to fulfill their job responsibilities. Our workload is increasing without other items being taken off our plates. The Care Solace program is a joke. As someone who periodically struggles with depression, I want to know that there are legitimate resources that I can turn to. With that being said, even if those resources were made available, district leadership has proven that they cannot be trusted. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for those comments. Our final comments for the closed session items will come from Ms. Radu Bala.
Thank you. That's actually Radha Bala, preschool special ed teacher at Toyon Elementary. I'm here to read it's the end of the day. I can't talk. I'm just here to read something. There we go. So this is from Brooktree Teachers, 3rd grade. It's too expensive to live in the Bay Area on a teacher's salary. And we need to lower grade teachers need a prep period. And I know a lot of the stuff I'm going to say is really repetitive, but I just wanted to make known that it is repetitive and that it's extremely crucial if it's being said over and over. And I do value that your time, and thank you for giving me this time. Brooktree teacher, SDC students need more one-on-one support in mainstream classes. Cherrywood, every year, M1 kindergarten classes have a class size of 26. This is way too many, and it's really hard for us to address everyone's needs. Please make our A1 for a whole day. It will benefit all learners, heritage speakers, and non-heritage speakers. Oh, something in the back, sorry. Care Solace is not very helpful. We currently have no prep K3. This is not good. Proper prep time is the foundation of, oh my God, high quality teaching. Our pay is too low compared to our neighbors. BUSD students and staff deserve more. Again, this is from Cherrywood. M1 program school. We need the district office to support us more in the following areas. Specialists to support students with behavior needs. PE and music schedules meet the M1 switch needs. Larger classrooms are, that makes no sense. Longer classrooms or more facilitation. 2 more from Sierra Mont. These are the biggest class sizes I've ever had. I have 34 students in each class, and I have 30 students in my ELD class, which is way more than twice the normal ELD class size. These outrageous class sizes are a direct contradiction to our district's mission to adequately serve our students, especially our English learning population. We deserve COLA because teachers are working hard to inspire the next generation. Sierra Mont Middle School. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. We actually have one final comment from Ms. Betty Chen.
Hello, good evening. I'm here to represent a colleague of mine. This is from Krista Leisure, 2nd grade teacher at Cherrywood Elementary School. This is regarding class size and combo classes. I want to thank the board for your time. I'm a 2nd grade teacher at Cherrywood and would like to express my concern about the Mandarin Immersion program here at Cherrywood. For the past 2 years, the district has chosen to divert from the original program model promoted to parents, the community, the understanding of us teachers of a one ELA class with a one Mandarin immersion class. Currently, we are in our third year of the bubble of low enrollment, putting us in a position of one ELA class with two Mandarin immersion classes. This situation has put a huge burden on our ELA teachers as they have 3 classes to teach, which for me makes 70 students to not only teach, individually assess at the second grade level 4 times a year for the district, assess weekly on their writing, spelling, etc., and give report cards, which comes out to be about 700 grades per grading period. Comments and give report card comments 3 times a year. In second grade, we are expected to switch with our Mandarin immersion class for 90 minutes per day. With a 3-way switch, that puts me without my homeroom students for 3 hours of instructional time per day. We have come up with some agreements with our grade level and principal to allow my English-only students an opportunity to be with their teacher for a little longer and not compromise the expectations for instruction of the Mandarin immersion students. The day before school started, our principal was told that we were to open a 2-3 combo class. Excuse me, and now puts the second and third grades in the same position. The way I see it, if the district could dissolve this combo class and give us a slightly smaller homeroom class size to honor the program model promoted to the community and the model we believed we were in agreement with, we would not be in this position. And we don't even have prep. Dissolving the combo class would give us a still larger class size than all other elementary colleagues, but a more manageable class size of 40 to 45 combined English only and Mandarin immersion students. I have many concerns about this 3-way switch model. First of all, this puts myself and the third grade ELA teacher in a position similar to that of a middle school teacher, as we mostly teach one subject. We don't have the time to build the solid community with our students, which is very important for both the student and the teacher in the elementary grades. It also creates a situation that many of our students are not developmentally ready for or capable of being successful with regard of now having 3 teachers to get to know, remember, expectations for, and learn from. It concerns me for their development, access to curriculum, and future SBAC testing. Parents have also shared their concerns for the future state testing as well. The students I have this year started in kindergarten with this 3-way switch. So far, I have observed deficits in their knowledge in core subjects, their social development, and their behavior among each other. There's been no way to split students up who do not do well in the same classroom as it would be if we had one-to-one switch model as we had since this program started, with exception of this bubble. It also puts us in a position of doing 2/3 more work than our other second and third grade colleagues with the same deadlines as everyone else. Before, we were doing twice the work of our colleagues with the same deadlines. Not ideal, but more manageable. Often the amount of work is overwhelming and frustrating. For example, I'm in the process of individually testing all 70 of my students with running record reading tests. It is an overwhelming task, and I have already had 2 sub-out days and been put a small dent in this task. I feel discouraged as I have not met the district deadline to turn in my results and feel as though I will finish this testing and then have to turn around and start over the next cycle with little instruction in between. Each student takes anywhere from 10 to 25 minutes to test. Our school has brought this issue to the attention of the board, superintendent, and union since the beginning, and I feel as though it is overlooked. I feel as though the district is showing the community how wonderful this program is for our district, and being the people we are going to work hard to make it work. However, this isn't working and hasn't been working since this 3-way switch began. I know for myself and many of my colleagues that we are frustrated, exhausted, unhappy, and looking for other options of employment. I would have been here myself, however, I have significant family obligations which don't allow me to stay after my working hours. Thank you for your time in hearing my concerns. Krista Leisure. And just to have a quick card that says we should not have a combo class because it is extremely hard for both teachers and students. And teaching at Cherrywood this year, and I am in the minor immersion model in the program. I can attest that even with just the switching, I'm on a 50-50. That has been a challenge of continuous planning with my colleagues in order to make that a successful current program. And I know that it is a very successful program, and the schools enjoy it, the parents enjoy it, the teachers. We do see benefits of this program. However, this model that Ms. Leisure is speaking of is not the model we agreed to. Thank you very much.
Okay, once again, thank you to all the comments that were provided. So at this time, the board will now adjourn to closed session. We'll return at approximately 8 o'clock, maybe sooner. Thank you again. Now reconvene back to open session at 8:14 PM. Trustee Srinivasan, can you lead us in the flag salute?
Please stand. Right hand over your chest. Heart, repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And Trustee Boyd, can you lead us in the district mission statement?
Berryessa Union School District provides all students the skills to become lifelong learners and successful 21st century global citizens.
Thank you. And Trustee Jimenez, can you lead us in the norms of the Board of Trustees?
Berryessa Union School District Board of Trustees agreed to focus on the best interest of students at all times, be respectful, listen openly, address problems in process, not persons, keep each other informed, maintain confidentiality, work toward the future, learn from the past, equal participation from all members, and stay on task.
Thank you for that. And during closed session, the board took action on 2 items. Dr. Fuentes, can you report these items out?
Yes, thank you. For item number 71629729, the governing board approved the settlement agreement with a vote of 5-0 in favor for resolution of a dispute regarding special education services provided to a district student based on the IEP for educational services in exchange for full waiver of any and all federal and state special education claims against the district. In addition, the second claim, item number 2023060, the governing board approved the settlement agreement with a 5-0 for resolution of a dispute regarding special education services provided to a district student based on their IEP for educational services in exchange for full waiver of any and all federal and state special education claims against the district.
Thank you for that. Now is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Move to adopt.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 5-0. We'll now move on to the consent calendar. Is there a motion to adopt the consent calendar?
I move to adopt the calendar.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Consent calendar has been adopted 5-0. We will now move on to agenda item 9, comments from the public on non-agenda items. We have one. I'll invite Shiko Habibi to the front for her comments.
Hello. As you all know me, I'm the advocate for special ed, special needs. I am as a parent, as a para-educator, as a mother of the special need. I had a visit to one of our school, and I observed the classroom with the 12 students with a spectrum of the mild moderate. There was only one teacher and one paraeducator, 5 hours. I just ask you a question. Maybe you can answer me. And I don't know how they do it. And this 5 hours para one working there, what happens to the rest of the hour? The teacher is there. The kids are there for at least 6 hours. What happens for the rest? If one para can cover for 12 hours, 12 students with a teacher, when the para leaves, what happens to the teacher? How do you think the teacher is going to deal with that? Just It's so hard. The teacher is, I'm not here for the teacher, but I'm thinking of the students. Some student got picked up by parent, and other student would be picked up by the bus. So this teacher with 12 kids, can you imagine how hard it would be for the teacher to handle all these 12 kids, to drop them some to the bus, some to the parent? So how this will happen? And I felt so bad for the teacher, but teacher has advocate to defend. But for my para, and she's been asked to cover for the lunchtime and then do one-on-one at the lunchtime, and then another student is clinging on her. So, but after all, I'm thinking about those kids. These kids are capable to, go to the next level. They can learn. They are smart enough, and they are just mild moderate. Why can't we have another support for that teacher in that classroom to make this classroom more calm? And this is so much stress on both teacher and para. And so the kids and the family, I don't know if the family know the teacher are getting, the kids are getting enough support in the classroom. So we are wanted to make, for the student better every day. We want a student to go home by learning something every day. So that environment is not a good environment to teach or for the, and then she's giving the teacher support. But as a special ed, what is a special ed department doing anything for that? So is a special ed is aware of that? And I'm sure there is another classroom I am going to visit tomorrow, and I heard has the similar issues. And I am asking the board to do something about that. And for our students, really, they are our future. They can accomplish in future. They can be someone. And we want them to be a good citizen. And I want you to, I don't know, maybe you don't want to answer me, but district, I'm just giving this, information to you, and then you are the one have the power. You are the one making decision, and I want the special ed to do something about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for those comments. We'll now move on to our presentations. Dr. Fuentes, can you introduce the first one for summer school?
Yes, the first one will be provided by Educational Services with an update of our 2023 summer school programs.
Hernandez, Namarta Jindal are also going to be speaking and sharing the majority of our 3 programs that they focused a lot of energy on over the summer. So I'm going to hand it off to Janet and the group.
Well, thank you. Will our slides be up at all, or is it controlled?
And then I would like to thank you for your attention and your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you for
Janet.
We're having a conversation. Sorry.
Definitely want to just express my thanks. I had the opportunity to visit the different programs this summer, and the children were so engaged and having so much fun, especially during their summertime. They enjoyed still being with their friends, but also were just, actively learning more, which was great. Also looking at a Levo's program, Right at School program. They also, I saw, were making a lot of efforts to try to continue to reinforce some of the student standards to help them also move forward. But I wanted to compliment the 3 of you on your leadership in running all of those programs every summer. The number of students participating in summer learning has increased. We're almost at 1,000, which is great. And our expanded learning opportunity program funds have been able to give us that opportunity to do that. And, I want to share with you that as I was visiting the classrooms, the staff also were so complimentary to all 3 of you. in terms of, feeling supported and feeling that they could go to you to help get what they needed, for the children. And Janet, the field day for Mark was so special. And truly, it's understated how wonderful his family felt and how surprised they were that that memory was being put in place, for their very special, beloved family member. And they just, they were very teary. And one thing that resonated with me that they said was, if he were still alive, this is exactly the kind of event he would have done and put together for the children too. And they just really felt his spirit there that day. So thank you so much for coordinating that. It meant a lot to them. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation.
Okay, we can leave now.
All right, Dr. Fuentes, would you like to introduce the next presentation from MOT?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to invite our director, Dan Norris, who will talk about all the teamwork that happened across MOT to ensure, with all the additional students and programs being offered, it gets more challenging too to do the deeper cleaning and everything that we need to address. So happy to hear all the work that was accomplished.
Good, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So every September board meeting, I have the pleasure of showcasing the MOT family of teams accomplishments from the last summer period. And this meeting is no different. Temperatures to where it would kill the weeds, so the weeds just kept growing. More smiles.
I just want to say, I just thank you for the presentation. I wanted to also note that as a student, I played with that ball wall, and so I understand what you're I laughed when I saw the before and after, so thank you to you, Marla, and your entire team for taking the summer and really making our schools beautiful.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, thank you for that presentation. We'll move on to the bond update now. Dr. Fuentes, can you introduce this?
Yes, I invite Tony Conestab to provide the board with his monthly update. Oh, Mr. Norris, is there one more thing you'd like to say? I saw that reaction.
I wanted to end by saying, wish Mr. Canestab a happy birthday today.
Don't worry, Dan, you'll get yours when it comes. Thank you, Dan. Still waiting for my lunch, but that's okay. Okay, so we're ready for there we go. Again, this is the bond update. This is the latest. I think I took this picture. Jim's still on schedule for. I want to say, we met with them last Thursday. We meet with them again every Thursday. It's when's the mechanical unit coming? And they're saying they haven't told us anything. I don't know if that's actually a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest. So we can just, again, we're just on the, we're just waiting for the subcontractor to, deliver it. We did tell them that we are going to charge them liquidated damages, because everything we hear is people are stepping up in front of everybody and saying, we'll give you money to do this. So we said, great, if you're 30 days late, that's $60,000. So that's your incentive to get it on time. So, or at least only 30 days late, put it that way. Anything else? Right. Thank you.
Yep. Tony, I had a question. First of all, happy birthday to
Thank
you.
you.
Roof replacement for the old district office. Are we replacing the entire roof or just
the flat roof? So the shingles we
only
don't need
part
to
of it.
replace yet, just the flat roof.
Oh, okay. And the HVAC and HVAC.
So,
upgrades
and
also.
basically the HVAC, there's a lot of ductwork on the roof.
Yeah,
So we're going to replace all that, and we're going to replace, there's one new unit, and I think there's 5 other old ones. We're going to replace those.
Okay. For the gym, you mentioned you can put the tint on the windows because
Correct.
of the glare. Is there any scope of adding like rolling shades
No.
or something like that? There's no way.
We talked about that a lot during design, and usually what happens is either they end up getting broken, and I think similar to, and Dan, you can back me up on this, BYC is the same way. They have shades, and they just always break. So
if
it's just,
if it's up there, then
Yep.
it's still
and it's just a
growing.
matter of time. Things wear out and it's
I
just
see.
hard to replace.
Okay. Have we looked at the angle of the sun related to
Exactly,
where
and
the
that's exactly why I was in there a couple nights just to see how it was at about 5:36, just to see where it was. Playing the sports for the most part, it should be okay. Volleyball, it could be a little iffy if
Right.
it's, excuse me, where sunset is. But if you're actually sitting in the stands, that's where it's going to get you.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking, because it'll hit the
Yep.
the spectators and their
Yeah.
eyes, right? So okay, so the tent should help
Yes.
minimize a
Yeah.
little bit, eh? Okay, good to know. Thank you.
All right, great, thanks.
All right, thank you. Dr. Fuentes, would you like to share your report?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to share in terms of our student enrollment, we continue to monitor our progress there. Now that we've had about a little over a month into the school year, we are noticing enrollment starting to stabilize. We continue to see growth in TK. So we are looking at TK and looking at adding again another additional classroom to be able to balance those numbers out, and also to be able to still continue to offer that opportunity for early learning to our community. In addition, last time I shared with you that the county had verbally expressed our conditional approval of our budget. Since then, I have received the official notice of that of their requested requirements. So I did receive approval of our LCAP, and then as well as the conditional approval of our budget with the county's expectations from us in terms of an October 9th deadline. So for October 9th, by that time, they want to ensure that we provide them three things. One, any increases or decreases to our fund balance as a result of 2022-23 end of year closing. The second item is the Budget Advisory Committee's fiscal stabilization plan that provides for a reserve for economic uncertainty that exceeds the 3% minimum requirement for all three fiscal years of the multi-year projection. And then third, a multi-year projection incorporating said changes as a result of the year-end closing balances and the recommendations that will be provided by the Budget Advisory Committee. And so we have that to provide to them by October 9th. And then, of course, they'll be reviewing our first interim budget report that we do in December. I also want to share with the first month of school, our school sites have launched their back to school events. Last week was middle school, so thank you to all of you for being in attendance. I think this year, each year, we see more and more engagement and participation with our families. So it's really nice to see those numbers out there and seeing our families engage with our staff, understanding, the student expectations for this next school year, having that opportunity to ask questions. All three middle schools did a phenomenal job in hosting those opportunities. I do want to give a shout out to Piedmont Middle School. They did something very different with their back to school night this year, having a community resource fair for the first hour that included all their community partners. It included a dinner for their families as well as student entertainment. So it was a very welcoming way to kick off the new year and bring their families in. Tomorrow, we'll be celebrating our elementary school back to school nights. So those will all be running at different times tomorrow evening. So we look forward to seeing our families there and having another opportunity for them to engage with their new classroom teacher and get to see their students' new friends. Finally, I do want to share today, I had quite an experience. I was out at Walden West. We have two schools there this week. We have Northwood as well as Ruskin. And it was just incredible to see our fifth graders out there. They have beautiful weather in Saratoga right now. And I didn't know this when I said, yeah, I want to come along, that I was on one of the most treacherous hiking trails that the teachers shared with me that they couldn't go on last year because there had been so much rain and water. So there was a little too much risk. And I have to admit, I didn't make it all the way to the top of the mountain. I cut out 2/3 in. But the kids are, there was so much that they saw during that hike. I was glad that I did challenge myself to join them, because along the way we saw banana slugs. We saw, ladybugs in their natural habitat. We saw salamander coming down through the creek. So it was just really wonderful. And the campus guides there are fantastic. They really are just building that vocabulary for our students and letting them know about the importance of taking care of the environment that we have around us. And the kids are just engaged from start to finish. They are so busy. And I was chatting with them, and some of them express that they're starting to feel a little homesick because they've been there since Monday. But then, their friends are like, oh, we only have 2 more nights left and then you'll be home. They had huge accolades for the meals. And I got to have lunch with them today. And, and it was quite good. And all the students have jobs, and they help set up for lunch, and they serve everything family style. And I met the director and several of their team members who really have committed to the Walden West program and have been there for 20 plus years coordinating that. So I'm just really glad our students continue to have that opportunity. And it was just fun to be out there with them today. No, I did not see snakes. I missed the morning session where they had snakes, and they had a tarantula, and they had some other interesting animals. There were lots of pictures I got to see with the kids holding all of that. So I'm glad I missed the snake interaction.
Both my daughters, this is a fun fact, nothing, both my daughters volunteered for this summer program at Walden West, and they had nothing, they had a lot of fun. They had nothing but good things to say. But yeah, it's a great opportunity for us. I got to visit Walden West every day. I used to drive up and down, and I got to see the trails and saw deer and all that stuff. It's a great opportunity for our students. I'm glad we have that partnership. Hope to continue that in the future.
Yeah, and I was glad to, I've seen our fifth grade teachers. I've attended many of their parent information nights, and I know sometimes our families are concerned about, this is sometimes the first time their child, goes away and of course stays the night. But, it's such a well-structured program, very well supervised. The high schoolers that are involved are very mature and excited to, be there and kind of be in a mentor position with the students. So yeah, it definitely has a lot of value.
All right, thank you for your report. Dr. Fuentes, are there any comments or announcements from the board?
I have something. I just wanted to put a placeholder on this. I don't have all the data, and I know we're running out of time tonight, but I wanted to revisit our environmental policy. We did have something put together a few years ago. I was not on the board at the time, but I just want to revisit some of those points to see how we can prioritize some of those things that we agreed on. I just learned today there was a resolution or a bill, or I forgot what it was, called Zero Waste from the state of California, that zero food waste or something like that, where each LEA is expected to not, to try to not waste, educate their students to not waste food. Or so I want to see how we can expand that in our sites. I'm interested in looking at paperwork reduction, admin paperwork reduction. to see what we can do, how we can achieve those things. So if you can think of ideas, please, let's try to bring those things back. The easiest thing I think would be to replace some of our aging equipment. Some of the during some of the site visits, I saw we have aging gas-powered equipment that we can replace with batteries. If we have that as part of the bond program, maybe bring that up in the priority list. So in the next couple of meetings, I'll probably bring up more of those things, review some of the past agreements that we have. If my colleagues have ideas, please bring that forward also. Thank you.
Oh yeah, just to add on to that, I really appreciate that. I really love climate advocacy at our school districts. I did bring up earlier this year the low flow toilet initiative. The Valley Water does give them out for free. We did do an inventory, but then I think kind of just like fell through the cracks, which is okay. But that might be something that we could do or look into. So that's also something that I would love to see. And also our gardens at our school at our school sites. I know that individual teachers usually take ownership of that, but if there is some sort of curricula that involves gardening, I'm a gardener, so I would always support that. So just an idea. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from the board? All right, we'll move on to review and action. Dr. Fuentes, can you introduce A1?
Yes, A1 is Board Policy 1113, District and School Websites for first reading. This is related to a new law, AB 2273. It doesn't necessarily apply to LEAs, but it applies to a general business with any kind of online service product or application that a business may use, making sure we have safeguards for online safety.
All right, is there a motion or any discussion from the board?
Move to approve Board Policy 1113.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, that's 5-0. Motion passes. Dr. Fuentes, can you introduce A2?
It is recommended the board review and approve Board Exhibit 113E, 1 district and school websites for first reading. This is also regarding recent legislation requirements for items that need to be posted on our website. There are 3. One is a COVID-19 testing plan, what is in place for every school district for testing accessibility. The second one is going to be an upcoming requirement in after December, learning recovery emergency funds, how districts have used those dollars needs to be posted on the website. And then the third one is a new requirement that went into place this school year, and that's the requirement of a digitized mental health poster if you have students in grades 6 through 12. So for us, 6 through 8, making sure our middle school students know that there's mental health support, how to understand the signs that you might need some mental health support, and where you can do outreach.
So is the expectation that these resources be on the homepage or somewhere?
Just within the district website.
Okay.
So for example, the mental health poster is under our health and wellness page within our website.
I see. Is there, I'm thinking.
And then the same thing like our COVID-19 testing plan,
Right.
that's on our COVID-related page within our website.
I was just trying to think if there should be an easy way. I'm trying to think, is there a priority? If there is a priority placed on these items, there should be an easier way for someone seeking that information to get there. Which is why I asked whether it'll be on the homepage.
Sure.
Or,
well, just so you know, usually it's not the homepage because these are the newest 3 of many others, like our LCAP, like our Title IX plans. So these are the newest 3 that are being added to the existing list of required documents to be posted on the website.
I got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I will move to approve Board Exhibit 1113E1.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All right, so is there a motion on, oh, I'm sorry, all in favor of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's 5-0. Motion passes. We'll move on to A3 now. Dr. Fuentes, can you introduce this?
It is recommended the board review and approve Board Bylaw 9322, agenda meeting materials for first reading. This one is also reflecting a new law, AB 2449, just ensuring that for public meetings, if there is an individual with a disability, that we're able to accommodate that disability for their participation in our board meeting, and that we can swiftly make that possible for them. And that's the language is swiftly in the legislation.
Is there a motion or discussion on this item?
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of this motion, say aye. Aye. Okay, this is 5-0. It passes. We'll move on to B1 now. Dr. Fuentes?
Any questions?
All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you for that presentation. If there's no questions, is there a motion in this item? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, motion passes 5-0. We'll now move on to B2. Dr. Fuentes, can you introduce this item?
Yes, it is recommended the board conduct a public hearing on the GAN appropriations limit calculation summary and adopt resolution number 2301 to establish a revised GAN limit for the 2022-23 fiscal year and a projected GAN limit for the 23-24 fiscal year.
Okay, so with that said, we'll now open it up to a public hearing for any comments from the public regarding the GAN limit. Seeing no comments, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing now. Now, is there a motion to adopt resolution number 23-01?
Move to adopt.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. This will be a roll call. Kim, can you call it? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, so that's 5-0. Resolution has been adopted. We'll move on to B3. Dr. Fuentes, can you introduce this?
It is recommended the board approve the Insurance Archaeology Group retainer agreement to research the district's historical liability insurance records. Specifically, we're seeking if the district had liability insurance prior to the mid-1980s.
Okay, is there any discussion or motions on this item?
Move to adopt, approve the agreement. Yeah.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes 5-0. We'll move on to C1 now. Dr. Fuentes, can you introduce this?
It is recommended to declare a public hearing and accept the Teamsters Local 150 2023-2024 reopeners proposal and 2023-2024 initial successor proposal for negotiations.
Okay, so with that said, we'll go ahead and open another public hearing on this item for any public comments. Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Is there a motion on this item from the board?
I so move.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I think I heard 5, so that's motion passes 5-0. We'll move on to C2.
It is recommended the board conduct a public hearing and accept the district's initial proposal for negotiations with the Teamsters Union Local 150.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and open up to the public again for any comments. All right, there's no comments, so we'll go ahead and close that public hearing. Now, is there a motion on this item from the board?
Move to approve.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Motion approved is approved 5-0. We'll move on to D1 now. Dr. Fuentes?
It is recommended the board declare a public hearing and accept comments from the public regarding the adoption of Resolution 2302, sufficiency of textbooks for instructional materials for the 23-24 school year.
All right, so this will be another public hearing. We'll go ahead and open it up to the public for any comments. All right, if there are no comments, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Now, is there a motion from the board for adoption of Resolution 23-02?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. This will also be a roll call. Aye.
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 Okay, so that's 5-0. Resolution 23-02 has been adopted. We'll move on to D2 now.
It is recommended the board approve the compliance and improvement monitoring for comprehensive coordinated early intervening services, our CSAS plan. And we have a presentation this evening from our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Nicole Paredes.
Good evening, trustees and executive cabinet. I'm pleased to, is it going to display? Any questions?
So is this the plan that will be sent to the state on September 30?
Once you approve it?
Oh,
Yes.
I mean, so this is it, you are
This
finished
is it,
with
yeah. This is it.
Yeah, I just want to let you know this is a great plan.
Thank you. It's a team effort for
Yes.
sure.
It's truly a great plan.
Thank you.
Congratulations, it's good.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah. Thank you.
I don't hear myself, so is there an effort to maybe identify other factors that might be involved besides the students that bring about these results in terms of identifying them as, having learning disabilities or the discipline issues? So what other factors, might be at play? If they haven't come besides, being Hispanic or being Black. Obviously, I know that there could be socioeconomic factors, could be issues at home. A lot of things. Are there ways to maybe try to figure out what those some of those?
Yeah, I think the data that, the intensive data that we have, and I'm happy to reshare all of that because the bulk of it is in the 2022 plan. And a lot of the qualitative data that we got around focus groups and empathy interviews, we got a lot of good information. And I think where we believe we need to focus on is providing those interventions, whether they be academic, social, emotional, engaging families and seeking resources to meet the needs that might be contributing, right? And for every kiddo that's part of this group, there's not one thing, right? There's not one reason. So when we look at it and the state's telling us, but we can see it for ourselves, we're disproportionate. And so something needs to be changed, whether, and it's not just one thing, it's system-wide, there's multiple things. If I had the answer, believe me, we'd be doing it, But I think it's going to be a collective effort and obviously a commitment to really examine the things you're talking about. And those are those hard conversations, right? Like, what are the things we're not even aware of that we're doing that are contributing? What information do families need that we don't know they need, right? So it's about building our system together. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Will the state help to fund all of these things that we are trying to do?
No.
They take 15% of the IDEA funds for us to do this.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
it's terrible.
It's like an auditing process. It's very similar to that, except, obviously there are issues and they have to be addressed, and it's working within your resources to do so. And our the technical advisors have been working. We've been fortunate that we've had consistency in that too, because sometimes those individuals change, through the state, but we've had a pretty consistent technical advisor as well as the person directly from the state. So they've been monitoring every iteration that we've been doing. They do, in addition to our own data collection, they do their own cold data research. They will pull student cumes, they'll evaluate those to really look at whether what we're saying about what's happening in our system is truly that, or are there inconsistencies, and where can we give improvements? And they're very much part of that analysis component in terms of determining what are those findings and how can we begin to work towards them. I think for me, as we've gone through this process, what's been most frustrating with the state level is not really having that time to truly fully implement all of the work before we're expected to do another new plan and that iteration. So it's nice that this plan at least does have tangible components to what we've been doing in the past, and we're giving that room, but we weren't given that room year 1 and year 2. And so because we are committed to making change and showing improvements for our students, and it takes time to do that. And so that's kind of been our feedback. We want to be able to, fully realize the action items that we've put before us, before the state says, okay, now we need you to complete this and this. We want to be able to go through and work through that progress. So the good thing, though, like I said, is our technical advisor has been consistent. She's been part of our leadership team meetings. So she's has a good understanding now going into year 4 of, our community, our student outcomes, what they've been, to be able to give us strong feedback on our direction. And I believe we will be having a visit this month from the state, director of the program. They'll be coming into the district next week. Next week, yes.
Yeah. And I would add that much of what is in here aligns to the goals we have for LCAP. It's the same data, right? So if we integrate and connect the plans and maximize the resources that way, that will be the opportunity to really address this, which really is addressing all students within the system. So I think LCAP's the big opportunity beyond this plan. So thank you.
Oh, I have one more question.
Sure.
So I just wanted to point out that, this is mainly due to systematic racism and bias that we have within ourselves. I just wanted to ask directly, do we have implicit bias training for everyone, and how is that implemented?
Yes, we do. We're getting there. To train everyone, you have to do it in waves and stages. And so before I got to join Berryessa, work with Dr. Nikki Elliott of the Mindful Leaders Project was already in motion, and it really is around examining implicit bias, our own, and learning how to identify our implicit bias, perhaps triggers, and how to then know how to respond or not respond, right? So it's a lot of personal work first. And so I'm pleased to share that we're offering September 28th and 29th, nearly all of our school secretaries, library media techs, district office staff will be going through a 2-day immersion and then 6-session follow-up after. And then we're offering another session during our October break for people who are interested in attending. But there have been several of those sessions offered since 2021. So a large portion of our district staff leadership has gone through, teachers, classified. So we're getting there. We're getting there. And then in connection with then the culturally responsive practices, right? Not only the pedagogy and the teaching practices, but how do we understand and respond to, our families who come from a wide variety of cultural backgrounds. So it is exactly what you just named. And so we continue to work on that. So thank you for asking that.
I have one more question. So do other districts, I mean, as far as you know, are they experiencing kind of the same phenomenon?
Nearly all.
Really with the same group of students?
Many. The majority in California that are identified as significantly disproportionate, a high number are for the same category. Not all, though. And then some are in for multiple categories. So we're trying to avoid that. Not because I don't want to have to write a plan, but because I don't want, none of us want any groups of students to be significantly disproportionate for anything. But yeah, I mean, it is back to what you just named, right? It's institutional. We have to figure out how to dismantle and disrupt the things that we know are contributing, and then figure out what else is contributing that we might not even be aware of, right? So
But this has been going on for many, many, many years, like a lifetime.
That's right.
Yeah, this is nothing new. This is really we just need to be honest with ourselves. But unfortunately, not everyone can do that yet.
Yet. That's the word. It's an opportunity, right? And I think it is ultimately what we're all committed to. But getting there will be together for sure. So thank you.
So I had a question also.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Comment, if it's okay. I know
Please.
it's a little late.
No, go ahead. I'm here.
But I mean, the comments are very well taken. I know we have had a tough history, in our country with systematic racism, but I feel it's such a double-edged sword because you cannot have a blanket statement saying that, just because, let's say a student is being disruptive, disrespectful repeatedly, and they happen to be in the category that we identify and they do get suspended, you cannot immediately say that the teacher is, practicing implicit bias. It's happening. I feel it's like a very broad statement to make. Unfortunately, it's based on our past history. I won't deny that there is no systemic racism. It's there everywhere, but I feel it's a double-edged sword. We have to be very careful as to how we assess and not assign blame and not just say that because you're suspending somebody, you are in that category. I feel that it's a little unfair to have a blanket statement like that. But the main question I have is about I saw this, I think the last time also, I see this all the time. There's something called as the hard conversations to have around systemic racism, bias, and things like that. I'm curious to know, how does that conversation sound like? What is a hard conversation surrounding systemic racism? Where do we start? It looks like if I say something, it's perceived as, if someone gets offended. If I use a certain word, someone says, "Oh, you're not in the right frame of mind. You're being racist. You have a bias." That's not it. I'm just trying to have a conversation. I'm trying to bring up those hard points that you mentioned. How do you balance it, or how do you have like a real open, honest conversation? And what does it sound like exactly? So it looks like we're just running in circles because we cannot have those hard conversations. If we do bring it up, we are labeled, and then we are end up identifying, and then we end up being in that same loop. So I wish I had a better understanding of how those conversations go, so we could help.
And those conversations could go all kinds of ways. And I think, for me, I'm sorry, Dr. Fuentes, I know, I just realized you
I want to say something,
Go ahead.
please. Thank you. First, I just want to share, I want to be clear to the board that this work is not about one person, one type of person. It's not about blame of a teacher or blame of a student or of a parent. It's when we talk about in institutional racism and our systems, it's historical, beginning with structures that we have in place, which is why where the state starts in terms of examination is our policies, and what do our policies say, and are they in alignment with current legislation and all of the learnings that we've had over the years regarding what research has shown in terms of different demographics and what their outcomes have been in terms of their school experience. So I think that's part of it, because one of the examinations in looking at policies, for example, that just in talking about recent legislation around suspension, right? That's a very easy one to talk about in terms of removing K, which is for willful defiance, no longer being able to be used for suspension, because there's just been data countrywide that one item has just shown a repeated pattern of having impact on Black and brown students in general. And that's over years and years and years, and not just in one school, but in multiple schools, not just in one city, but multiple cities, so all around. So clearly, we're in a new age. Our school systems still function how they did when they were first created. And so it's kind of looking at how do we meet our current community's needs, our current student needs. And at the end of the day, without putting labels on all of these things, for me, it's very simply relationship building, right? We have such a diverse community here in Berryessa, for example. And I think it's how do we create those opportunities to appreciate what our students and families and staff all bring to the table into that classroom in building that classroom community. And what the difference is, it's not looking for what's missing or what's wrong, but it's flipping that mindset to what are the strengths that we all bring to the table and how do we work from there? So it's an assets approach, but that's not how our system's designed. Our system's designed to find gaps, to find, what are the areas of improvement that are needed. And that can become very stereotypical very fast. And so that's where this shift in thinking is about, looking at how can we open up opportunity in the classroom, for our students. How do we value what they bring, whether that's language, that's culture, that's just their own family experiences, whatever they might be, whatever culture they may be from, and work from there to take them to that next level, right, for success, and making sure that there's open opportunity for that, and all of us staff in this position, it's also our role to ensure we're creating those spaces and that we're contributing towards that too, because we all have things to offer based on our own backgrounds and history as well. But, I've been to multiple trainings, and at the end of the day, it's about having that open communication, about building those relationships and coming into that space with an open mind and acceptance of where we are and we're going to grow together. And the better we can get to doing that, whatever approach that might be, we'll have more successful children, overall. And I do think everyone has good intent, but they're also, as we've mentioned, there's also things built within our system, but built within ourselves out of just repeated history, go unnoticed or uncalled, not called out, that this is what this data does for us. It allows us to examine more deeply. It allows us to ask our families, how do you feel when you come onto our campuses? Do you feel welcomed? Do you feel, because we know just, again, if you're not an educator in a school space, school can be really intimidating. Coming into an SST meeting as a parent that you've never, been in that structure before, that could be intimidating. Even though everybody there at the table is there to talk about your child, to give you resources and support, you've not been part of that, you've not navigated that, it can be scary. It could, people may not really be an equal partner in that conversation on how to build a good learning experience for their child. So, I think that's where we're kind of coming from at the core, but knowing that there's lots of, different areas that we can continue to build on and improve upon, so that we are making those connections with our students and really understanding our families and trying to build in the right supports. It's very much more of an individualized approach. I think that's really, we always talk about our IEPs for our special education students, but when it comes to this work, it's really doing that for every student,
So
which is not easy. It's not easy.
I appreciate that. That's
Just
great.
another way to
Yeah,
think
it's
about
a flipping the script kind of a thing. But practically speaking, an educator has limited time in a day to first teach the core subjects, math, science, or whatever it is, and also address issues, and also be identified. Not an educator. I mean, just as a general rule, get identified as being disproportionate as far as suspension goes, and so on. So my main concern is, we might be putting, in an effort to align ourselves, we might be putting way too much pressure on our educators, that we are not able to focus on our core teaching subjects and so on. How best can we? I think that if we need to have this kind of plan, our educators need to have a lot more support, for specifically addressing this. How they can balance it out, because, like I said, there's limited amount of time during the day to to teach core subjects, and also engage with the families, and also understand the dynamics, also understand the cultural aspects, also understand the conversations about racism and bias and things like that. So those are my concerns. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to speak more on that too, because I hear what you're saying and I completely understand. But, my view of CSACE, and I'm really interested in this work, as, I work on policy, and this is my area where I'm really interested to see how we can really help our students who are really struggling. And, at the end of the day, whenever a student has to come to us for suspension or expulsion, the question I always ask is why? What brought the student before us? What happened? Why did it happen? And I think that a lot of this training and, the behavioral matrix and the alternative ways we can help our students instead of punishing them. There's a lot of different reasons why a student may act out, or a student may not be showing up to school, or, all of these different reasons. And I think that, it's not to say that everyone is racist or everyone has a bias or whatever. I really think everyone has their own bias, whether it come like minimally small, nobody knows. It's an implicit thing that we all have. I even have it too. But the core of this is asking, why is the student being this way? Why is it like that? I remember in the 4th grade when I had Mr. Herman as a teacher, actually, we spoke on our cultures, and we spoke about the differences between the cultures that we had. I brought my own little jeepney toy and explained to them, this is my culture, this is where I come from. And in that moment, I realized, how diverse Berryessa is, and how many students there are. A majority of Berryessa students come from Asian descent. But then there's also a handful of them that are Black and brown students. And, there are the minority here, but they're constantly overrepresented. And, the question comes again, why?
And it may be because of those socioeconomic reasons and why we have to have this plan and have extra supports for them, because they may not be in a position to get those extra supports. And so, just to get off my stump here, but, I really think that this is really important. It's an amazing plan, and thank you as well for bringing this before us. But, it's not to say, we need to punish these students or for acting out. It's to ask us and ask the student, like, why are you behaving this way? What is going on? Like, what can we do to assist you? And this is an issue that we see across the nation. And I think it's something that we as a society have to address, that there is systematic racism within every institution, and education is truly the basis of our society. And, the intervention is there in the first grade. We need to make sure that those students are supported and helped. And so we really need to find alternatives to suspending or just pushing them into special education, because so maybe a student may not need it. Maybe a student will just need extra tutoring after school. Maybe they're just going to need to have extra support instead of just sitting on a bench silently and not being assisted. We really need to meet our students where they're at and give that extra step to them, because if we do not extend our hand and ask them, why, what's going on, who will? We can't just throw them to the curb and say, you're being disruptive, we're not going to help you. No, we really need to intervene and ask, what's going on, and, be able to give that extra support. And so I just wanted to mention that, because this is really important to me, and this is something that I truly care about as someone who recognizes the disparities we have here in the Silicon Valley, especially with how hard it is to live here with the high cost of living. And, a lot of students within our district may not have the extra resources that other students may have. And so, having lived that too, I really understand that we really need to spend our time in this plan and really dedicate ourselves and make sure that we go through with it. And so I'm really excited to see the outcomes of this, and I'm excited to continue working on this issue especially. So yeah, just wanted to say that.
So, yeah, I know we're ready to roll on this item, but, I completely agree. And part of, I think part of the role of educators and teachers are, obviously overworked, underpaid, but part of the job of educators also teaching students, right? And sometimes it's not always the academics, but it's finding out what some of the deeper issues are that are going on. And I think that if a teacher is able to reach a student, who may be falling behind, and able to reach them, that might get the student up to a certain level, right? Or give him or her the ability to then succeed in the future. And I just have one anecdote that I want to share real quickly, just about my personal experience as a student, since I'm a Hispanic male student, right? In second grade, I wrote something and I misspelled bicycle. I changed the I and the Y, and spelled it BYCICLE. And I remember the second grade teacher asked me, "Have you been identified as having a disability?" And I wondered why the teacher asked me that, right? I said, "Well, I'm in second grade, it's a big word." And I'm thinking, well, and that always stuck with me. So just to put it kind of in perspective, I've experienced this, and no one ever before or after has asked me that. So that's something that I remember that was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So just to put it kind of in perspective.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think I agree with what all of you have been saying. And going back to, I'm an English language learner when I came here. I went to school as a 9-year-old, and I was asked to stand up. This is in the middle of 35 or so kids. I think this was in 4th or 5th grade. I was asked to stand up, and I had to pronounce, get this, the state of Connecticut. My thought on that was, I'm going to pronounce this like I would pronounce it in Filipino. So I did. I pronounced it like Connecticut. That's exactly how we would pronounce it. I had to stand up until I was able to pronounce it. And I had just been here about 3 weeks. And I had to stand up, and everyone was looking at me, and I thought, my goodness. But I was trembling, but those things I will never forget, like what you said, Hugo. Yes, we all, there has to be some kind of understanding. And apparently sometimes teachers do forget. Either they forget or they just, maybe they're too busy because there's so many kids in the classroom at times. But I understand, I'm an educator myself. So when I became an educator, I will never do that to any child, what they did to me as a 9-year-old. And get this, I taught English language learners for almost 20 years. And that really stuck to my mind, that I will never, never do that. And no teacher should do that.
You're welcome. And I'll just close with, this is a collective effort and responsibility, all of us. And so, yes, teachers are in there with the students every single day, but it is a collective responsibility for the entire community. And the idea is that we're creating systems of support across all of the domains. So, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. And lastly, is there a motion on this item?
Move to adopt.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes 5-0. We'll move on to E1 now. Dr. Fuentes, can you introduce this one?
It is recommended the board ratify Lone Star Landscape Inc. lump sum agreement for the relocation of irrigation lines as a result of the new Piedmont Middle School gymnasium.
Is there a motion on this item?
Move to approve.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion carries 5-0. E2, Dr. Fuentes.
It is recommended the board approve the Silicon Valley Paving Inc. change order number 1 for site work for the new gymnasium project at Piedmont Middle School on bid B06 2022-23. This is a change order for an increase of approximately $103,000. And I know Tony Conestab can share some highlights for some of the work. It had to do with improved soil, with pipes that needed to be repaired when the ground was open, and some electrical work as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
There were basically 4 things. 2 of them were unseen for the water lines and the storm drain. One was I just went blank. Anyhow, the biggest thing is we did lime testing, or we added lime to the soil so that we could actually move forward with during the rainy season. And the other item is that we actually did work on the existing main switchboard, where it's not really for the gym, but it's for the portables that are associated with the gym. So when we started the project, instead of going to PG&E and have them give us power for the gym, we actually have them give us power for the portables. Because right now we can actually still use the switchboard we have for the portables. We knew PG&E was going to take about 9 months to do this. So we created a separate project to do that later. Well, PG&E actually came ahead and actually approved some of the work. So we incorporated some of that work into this project so we could get it done during the summer. So then we can start some of the other work during the rest of the year. So again, it's not really an increase because we already had the money budgeted for something else, if that makes sense. I think it does.
All right.
I second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, this change order is approved. Are there any requests for staff follow-up or items for future agendas from the board? No?
Well, we already have that. We already had it.
Okay. All right, if there's nothing further, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Okay, this meeting's adjourned at 10:20 PM. Thank you.